Hi, my name is Ruby, and this is my project about Transcendentalism and the beauty of it. Hope you guys enjoy. You might wonder, what the heck is Transcendentalism? It just looks like a fancy word for walking, and I can barely pronounce it. Well, first off, it's definitely not a fancy word for walking. It is an American literacy movement from the early 19th century. The movement was centered around Ralph Waldo Emerson's ideas. If you don't know who Ralph Waldo Emerson is, well, I know for a fact he's not related to Where's Waldo. I think. All I know is that he wrote this book, and that book, and many more. Anyways, continuing on. Some of Transcendentalism's beliefs are that humans are inherently good people. Society organizations such as politics or religion are corrupted. Humans should try to be vulnerable and self-reliant. They also think experience has more values and insight than overall head-noggin logic. To really get a better understanding of this movement, we need to go all the way back in time to the year 1830. During the 1830s, a lot of stuff went down, one of which was the birth of Transcendentalism. Now, moving a little more forward in time, on September 12, 1836, 4 Harvard University alumni, I know, pretty cool, Ralph Waldo Emerson, the guy that helped start this whole thing, and some of his colleagues, Frederick Henry Hodge, George Ripley, and George Putman. That's a lot of Georges, they should have added Curious George. Anyways, basically they created this club, and over the next 4 years they gave people new ideas and helped with women's rights. It also helped pave new American ideals that imagination is better than reason and creativity is better than theory. They all believed, in quotes, all would be well because humans could transcend limits and reach astonishing heights. So, how does this movement show in authors and their works? Well, a woman named Louisa May Alcott is a prime example of Transcendentalism. If you haven't heard of Louisa May Alcott, then you've been living under a rock. She wrote the freaking book Little Women, and there's been many, many movies on that book. Like a lot. A brief biography on Louisa May Alcott is that she was born in 1832 in Germantown, Philadelphia, one of 3 sisters. During her writing time, she was influenced by a lot of Transcendentalist writers, like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. From 1850 to 1862, she worked as a domestic servant and teacher to help support her family. During the Civil War, she also worked as a nurse. With her most popular book, Little Women, she gained great success and financial independence. During the final years of her life, she wrote a lot of books, mostly for young people, and it was inspired directly from her own family. Unfortunately, Louisa May Alcott died at age 55 in 1888 from a sudden stroke. An article posted by Live Ideas said, Alcott's Transcendentalism calls us to turn to ourselves in a different way, in order to find gratitude, self-reliance, and inner strength that we might help those around us and provide service. Little Women has become a huge coming-of-age story, but how does it show Transcendentalism? D. Reynolds said, Transcendentalists held progressive views of women, and they believe people should consult their own conscience in making moral decisions. Both of those aspects of transcendental thought appear in Little Women. I still don't think I said that right. In Little Women, we see how the March sisters paved their own way of earning money. This shows an example of independence and self-reliance. Jo is also like Margaret Fuller, a fellow Transcendentalist woman. She creates her own way in the world. One quote from Little Women says, Then let me advise you to take up your little burdens again, for though they seem heavy sometimes, they are good for us, and lighten as we learn to carry them. Work is wholesome, and there's plenty for everyone. It keeps us from the ennui and mischief. It's good for health and spirits and gives us a sense of power and independence better than money or fashion. This again shows a clear example of the Transcendentalist idea that independence is key to greatness. You need to push through and experience hard work to fulfill your passion. There are several thought-provoking themes in Little Women, one of which is stereotyping genders. This goes for both male and female. Jo throughout the book doesn't want to be the norm. Her actions and desires twist those gender expectations from society. An example is when Jo makes a living by herself. This is usually foreign because that's reserved for men. This theme shows aspects of Transcendentalism that society and its beliefs are corrupted. Another example is when Laurie wants to pursue music. Back in these times, music was seen to be feminine. Alcott gives both the characters of Joe and Laurie uniqueness in defying gender norms. With everything, you can see how Little Women and Louisa May Alcott can be examples of Transcendentalism. Over time, Transcendentalism has become an impactful movement on people and literary works. It's created a change in modern culture.